Okay, so chapter 6 is beyond breaking news. So we've done the last couple the basics of covering news, basic reporting skills. Now we're moving on to beyond just regular hard news into just some different categories, including features and investigative reporting. With features, you want to keep in mind that these are personal stories that are human interest stories. So you want to personalize the news with these human stories, right? The news stories focus on timely public events, whereas features are going to have a more personal touch to them. They're really going to focus on an individual or a group of individuals. You can also include in feature stories topics, treatments. It can be the lighter tone and styles that are not found in hard news. It gives you a lot more flexibility. They explore a variety of topics, including lifestyle issues, health, right? Whether it's fitness or illness, right? Science and technology, entertainment. That's where the entertainment piece will come in, and food. So all of those can be in the feature world. There's about 10 different kinds of feature stories. One is a personality profile that would focus on an individual and kind of take us through their biography and their life. A human interest story, something that is compelling to people. A color story that might be a company, a hard news story that would talk about the what we call color, kind of the scene setting and the feel of an event. A backgrounder would give you background information, the history of an event. A trend story would talk about things that happen in at least three. We don't have a trend until we have at least three of them happening. But if something happens multiple times, your editor might want to say, well, this sounds like we're starting to see a trend here. Let's look at it. Instant pot is the one that comes to my mind immediately, like a slow cooker but fast. So that's a big piece that the New York Times did. It's a trend because people are buying a ton of them. Reaction piece, how people react to a certain event. That can be a feature story, a flashback. 25 years ago today, such and such happened, and let's tell that story again. A how-to feature, how to put something together, how to build it. Also, a consumer guide is another form of features. Where you can kind of rate all the cell phones and which one is the best. And then a personal story, a personal narrative is another kind rather. So hard news versus soft news, they describe the topic and the treatment of the story. So a hard news story is going to be serious, timely. It's usually going to be written in the inverted pyramid, right? With the most news on the very top, and then we get smaller and smaller and smaller with the details. Whereas the less urgent or less somber, usually not deaths, make up the soft news. It's a main difference between hard and soft. You'll want to look this over in your book again. It's pretty key for features. Where do you get these ideas? You can go to the archive, sometimes called the morgue of your own publication. Check out your competitors. What are they writing about? Other TV, magazines, news websites, news releases. Sometimes the press releases have interesting things. You want to take it from being about a certain product to a broader issue or the products in general. And then reader suggestions are always great. And then brainstorming with your colleagues or by yourself. Is it a good story? Where did it come from? Is it original? Did it surprise you? Does the idea have movement, right? Does it kind of move over time? Does it have flow? Is there an actual story there? Is there tension? And can you get the people to talk to you about it that you need to? Is it true, right? Of course, that's going to be bottom line for all of these. Do you like the story? Would you read it yourself? You want to see if it's been done. That was a big thing when I was pitching stories to National Public Radio. Oh, we did that 5 years ago. Well, 5 years ago is a long time, but I should know if they've done it 5 years ago. I should get online and find out when was the last time they did this story and then come up with a different angle on it. Focus your angle. You want to talk to your editor about it. Your editor is kind of your partner on this story. Do your research, plan the package, write the story, and then you'll think about what kind of voice you want to have for it. It doesn't have to be just the facts, ma'am, of news writing, right? In news writing, we talk about subject, verb, and no adjectives. Feature style is a lot livelier. Thomas Wolfe dubbed it the new journalism. It had realistic dialogue and made scenes, right? And it's viewed through the eyes of the character, so it had point of view, and it records everyday detail, word about detail. Um, you want to have revealing detail. Not all details go all the time, or that's really boring for your reader. But if they're details that mean something, that give us insight into the characters, those are good details. Successful feature writers rely on literary techniques, syntax, and phrasing, right? So sometimes you'll have short sentences, sometimes long. You can break a lot of the rules that you might do in hard news reporting. Voice and tense, detail and description, dramatic techniques of the same kind. If you read fiction, you're going to borrow from that. Helpful tips: you want to write tightly still, but you can vary the sentence structure. So it doesn't always have to be subject verb. You match treatment to topic, so the tone should be consistent. You don't want to go nuts with it. Don't overdo it. Still, generally avoiding first person. I've seen some in the first person, and that can be okay if you're testing out a product or giving a first person account of your experience. But generally, that's not what readers are looking for. They want to know how it'll affect them, not necessarily how it'll affect you. You still want to stay objective, and use shorthand or a tape recorder, something so that you can get the information fast. And then you want to beware, because editors will have strong opinions. Don't take that personally. They give you feedback and they want you to grow from it and learn from it. And we can always make a story better. And editors tend not to pull their punches with opinions. That's been my experience anyway. But read is one of the best ways that you can become a better writer, no matter what it is. Standard story features: how long should it be? What key points do I need to make? You want to think visually. Magazine writers, and that's what feature story structures tend to be most like, are magazine pieces. And they're scenes, they're visual. You also want to think package. What else are you going to have online with this? Are you going to have graphics? Are you going to have a quiz? Think of it more as part of a whole larger piece, because people might really slow down to read a feature story, whereas they won't with a hard news story. Sample story structures for profiles have an anecdotal lead, like a story lead, an anecdote, engaging, revealing small story to lure the readers in, a nut graph, summary paragraph of why this person matters now, and then you'd have your scene. Observe the subject in action using dialogue, details, and descriptions. So to report on that, you might decide to go to the place where they are and hang out with them for a bit. You'll have chronology, a recap of the subject's past, and then maybe another scene, another look at the subject in action, right? They're answering phones, they're out talking to people, they're running for governor, they're at the bus stops. What lies ahead? Plans, dreams, goals, and obstacles, so the next steps. And then a really powerful, good closing quote. And sometimes when I'm out reporting, I hear it. I'm like, oh, that would be a really good ending. Be sure to write those things down. How do you paint a better portrait? You get those details, and again, revealing details. You recreate scenes. You get them to say, well, what was it like when you won the beauty contest? Do you remember those first moments when they announced your name? Did you start screaming? Add quotes and dialogue. What did you say to your mother when you first saw her after you were now Miss America? Whatever it might be. And then, oh, she said, I wasn't surprised at all. I knew it was you. Whatever the quotes are between the two that are lively and interesting, get people to start talking in dialogue to you so you can pick the best pieces. Okay, much more serious topic is investigative reporting. And unfortunately, that has been in decline. A lot of newspapers aren't willing to let their reporters work as long as an investigative piece will take. And it's really the work of the reporter. It should involve something of importance to the readers. Where are their tax dollars going? But usually there's an attempt by the government to try and cover up these matters. And so reporters have to dig up the dirt. They have to have this kind of skepticism about it, but remain objective, have a pretty narrow focus, yet cast a wide net in their reporting so they can get as much information as possible. Reporters also have to keep their own nose clean. You don't want to violate any laws in order to get the story, or that completely undermines the story. And work the web. I'd say also a lot of what they call shoe leather. Get out and do the reporting. Package planning, please go over page 127. That's what people would use, and we do in multimedia storytelling, to figure out how to put a package together. You want to be able to have what's called an elevator speech. or an elevator pitch, right? Where you can summarize a story in 25 words or less. You want to ask the questions that readers will ask and figure out how you answer them with different pieces of the media package. Do you answer with photographs, with a graphic, with illustrations, or with the text itself? You write the headlines and the deck, the subhead, set staff deadlines and lengths so you know what the parameters are, and you create a rough layout. Again, if you're interested in any of this, multimedia storytelling is really an opportunity to do that. And where we work on websites. Short form alternatives to reach readers, condense the data. You can have a fast facts box, so literally a little box that gives them just the facts that they need to know. A biography box that tells us about somebody. A checklist, if it's a how-to story, you might want that. Or a list. A step-by-step guide also might be good for a how-to. A quiz, are you a coffee addict was one thing students did for a multimedia storytelling class. And you'd answer all the questions, and then it would tell you what you were based on your score. A factual index or a diagram, if it's something that's visual but needs a lot of explaining, a diagram might work. One of my other classes, we've talked about LASIK surgery, and they had an eye in there, and they show you exactly what happens in LASIK through a diagram, which is probably a lot easier to look at than actual LASIK surgery. Sometimes a timeline. There's actually a free timeline program online, the Night timeline, that you can use and create an interesting timeline. Writing editorials and columns very interesting. An editorial is usually 300 to 500 words, comments on the current events, and it expresses the opinion of the paper, of the entire paper. So they usually have an editorial board vote on it. Editorial cartoon combines art and commentary of current events. A column is a signed opinion, usually has a picture by an individual. Columns, the options are endless. You can have a topical commentary about something that just happened, as a reaction to an event, or you can have personal meditations, just thinking about day-to-day life or a story that struck you. Slice of life, a storyteller. You want to have, if you're a columnist, your own distinctive voice. You still want to do reporting. It's not just opinions out of nowhere. You're researching. Choose worthy topics that people are thinking about. And just because everybody's talking about it doesn't mean you should too. So you want to avoid jumping on bandwagons. And have a backup. That is the hard part of columns, is you've got to be producing a lot almost every day. So you have a lot of backup columns in case your column falls through. How do readers recognize the story as an opinion column? Usually it has something that says opinion on it, a column logo, a different headline font. The first capital letter is the first letter is capitalized. So there should be ways that you can discern it. Sometimes it's not so clear though, especially on the web. The place for opinions, definitely in criticism. The readers depend on them for advice. And you can create a fact box like we talked about a little bit ago. Structure your reviews, balance in reporting and opinion, so get your facts straight, still know your stuff, be aware of your biases, don't be pompous or condescending, and don't be cruel to the author or to the, if it's a play, to the people who are in the play, to the actors. Other don't, spoiler alert if you're going to reveal it, but generally you don't want to reveal plot twists or endings. You can indicate that there is something, but don't get too specific. Don't add unnecessary phrases, avoid vague adjectives. And then you don't want to be particularly harsh on amateur or children's plays. Not a good idea. Definitely don't want to get personal. Don't take it personally either. Graphics extras, get to the point. You can add a rating systems, the thumbs up or how many stars. Create a fast facts box for readers so that they know who's in the production. And that's what we've got for you folks. So we'll pick it up with Chapter 7 next time. Thanks for watching.